Hey.
Hello and welcome back to Jurassic Kingdom with your host, me, Brian I. And today we have something a little different than what I normally do, which is kind of scripted stuff, but still in the vein of kind of critiquing the Jurassic franchise, and that is looking at the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer, breaking down some of the things that we're hearing as a fandom, and seeing in the trailer itself. Now, I realize this is coming out a few weeks after the trailer dropped. Unfortunately, I'm not able to make instant reaction videos. I watched it the first time at work on my phone, and the next several times that I watched that trailer, I also watched it on my phone. So there are certain things that I didn't quite see the first time around until I saw it on the TV screen and later on my laptop screen. There are some things that I do really want to talk about with Rebirth and give my 2 cents. I mean, that is what I do on this channel, is give my opinion and review and critique of the Jurassic franchise as I see it. This is kind of right up my alley, doing these kinds of things, and in the future, maybe with the next trailer or two, maybe I'm going to be able to get right to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that you already watched the trailer and you're watching this to get my opinion on it. I'm going to watch the trailer, and as I go, I'm going to stop and talk about something that I find important or something. And do forgive me, I'm feeling a little under the weather, and I also don't have a teleprompter script to read off of, so this is off the cuff, and I don't do well with off the cuff, so let's just get into it.
Dr. Henry Loomis, this is Zora Bennett, our mission specialist.
Sorry, what mission?
This would be a medical breakthrough that could save countless lives.
So a couple things in these opening shots and the opening seconds of this trailer that I do want to discuss. The first thing is the casting. I was very disappointed to find out that Scarlett Johansson was going to be in this movie. And not because I don't like ScarJo. I do. I think she's a phenomenal actress. The problem is the same problem that I had with Chris Pratt being cast in Jurassic World. Chris Pratt and Scarlett Johansson are A-list celebrities. They are household names. People know who they are and roles that they have been associated with. And when Steven Spielberg started this franchise way back when, he cast actors who were not A-list celebrities, good actors, character actors like Sam Neill and Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum. And they didn't have already iconic characters with whom they were associated. When you go in to watch Jurassic World, you're not watching Owen Grady take on dinosaurs. You're watching Star-Lord take on dinosaurs, or you're watching Andy Dwyer take on dinosaurs. It's hard to separate the actor from more iconic roles. And in Scarlett Johansson's case, she's got quite a few iconic roles. I think the biggest of which is Black Widow. So again, we have a Marvel superhero taking on the dinosaurs. We can be fairly certain they're going to survive the movie. There's a certain level of tension that dissipates when there is an A-list celebrity in frame and as the main actor. There's not a whole lot that's going to happen to them during the course of the story, and that kind of takes away from the film, I think. The other thing I wanted to discuss was something that I saw on Facebook, this rumor spreading about that the bones that we see at the museum is somehow Rexy. That's ridiculous. I mean, first of all, I don't think that they would do that. And second of all, clearly that can't be Rexy unless this is taking place 120 to 65 million years into the future. That isn't Rexy. Rexy's bones would be white, not brown. They wouldn't be fossils. They would just be bones. And so we can just visually debunk that rumor outright. That can't be Rexy or Roberta. That is absolutely either real fossils or fake fossils being built. That was a ridiculous rumor.
It comes from the largest dinosaurs on the planet.
Oh my God. Fortunately for us, all these species exist in one isolated place. Can you be ready tomorrow?
I can guarantee your safety. I mean, more or less.
More or less?
Now, I'm not familiar with the actor who plays Henry Loomis, but the delivery of that last line is fantastic. And the other line that he says later in the trailer that I really liked, we'll get to that when we get to that. So far, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of him. He seems really like charming and charismatic in a way, in a kind of nerdy way, and I really appreciate that. So I'm really looking forward to him because it looks like he might end up being my favorite character. The other thing I want to address here is the retcon thing. I don't mind small retcons here or there, but the retcon of there being yet another island on which InGen was working, that is a major retcon. That is a serious big retcon on the level of Ben Lockwood being introduced in Fallen Kingdom. And now we're saying that 5 movies in, John Hammond wasn't alone actually in building InGen and creating dinosaurs. In fact, there was someone there the whole time helping him out. And that's like, yeah, but where was he throughout everything else that happened post Jurassic Park? Where was his wealth? Where were his resources? Where was his influence? And the answer is nowhere, because Ben Lockwood was created for Fallen Kingdom and now we're retconning him into the continuity. This is the same thing. This is on the same level that InGen held not one island, not 2 islands, but 3 islands. Obviously, people are going to come into the comments and say, well, Site B was a retcon in and of itself. And yeah, that's true. Site B was a retcon. Crichton came back in and said, well, now hold on, I destroyed Isla Nublar, but actually there was a second island all along. But it made sense. And the reason for that is, first of all, it happened early in the franchise. Movie 2, the lab in Jurassic Park, was too small for the work that Henry Wu was doing. And that was a really good, reasonable explanation for a second island. But now we're 7 movies in, and we're finding out that no, Isla Sorna wasn't enough. There was actually another island entirely. How big was InGen? How big was InGen that they had 3 islands operating all at the same time? And if this island had been there the whole time, why didn't Ludlow go for this? Why didn't Masrani go for this? Why didn't Dodgson? If it's been there the whole time and everyone seems to know about it, why didn't those other people go for it? It doesn't make any sense. Masrani wanted something with more teeth. Later in the trailer, we're going to find out there's more teeth. He didn't have to make something. He could have taken something off this island. So that kind of retcon really grinds my gears. It makes me hope that David Koepp did come up with a reasonable explanation that I can buy.
He's your guy?
We're the best at moving things and people in and out of places they shouldn't be.
Loop up towards Barbados, avoid government patrol, but there aren't that many anymore.
Why's that?
No one's dumb enough to go where we're going.
This island was the research facility for the original Jurassic Park.
So a couple of things. We also have another A-list actor in there, Mahershala Ali. That is, again, disappointing, but he also looks like he's a great character. And so one of the things that I do want to address here at this point is that it does seem like they're going to do a good job of building up these characters, of introducing them, at least the 3 main cast members, which means, ScarJo, Mahershala Ali, and the guy playing Henry Loomis. I haven't learned everybody's names yet, but at this juncture, I do want to point out that Raptor looks an awful lot like Lost World, Jurassic Park, original recipe Raptor, which very happy. And because I watched the trailer for the first times on my phone, it was hard to make out, but now that I've seen it on larger screens, I can see that it's possible that there's a second head on that raptor, which is really, really fun, very interesting. Anyone who's watched my videos before knows I have almost no love for the variation raptors that we see post Lost World. Seeing those original colorations is very satisfying. Let's get a little further into the trailer.
We need DNA from the 3 biggest dinosaurs.
Do we have to get a sample from an egg?
I suppose we could try and get it from the parent, but they're a flying carnivore the size of an F-16.
Maybe we should make it quick.
Okay, so a couple of things here that I want to address. So they're looking for the DNA from the three biggest dinosaurs, which kind of confirms something that we were hearing initially, that they were going to get DNA from the largest land-based animal, water-based animal, and air-based animal. And it seems that that's what the trailer is going to bear out. They're after the pterosaur egg, and later on in the trailer, it looks like they're going after the mosasaur. That is a really interesting concept that I'm really looking forward to seeing. The other thing that really makes me happy is the ruins. Now, I have seen some people, for some reason, not on board with that, which is ridiculous to me, because those ruins actually trigger some nostalgia. Ruins were visible in the Sega Genesis Jurassic Park Rampage Edition. The visual of ruins have been part of the Jurassic franchise from 1993. To see it in one of the films is awesome. I can't tell you how exciting that is for me. Something I will address here now too. I called it a pterosaur because I'm not quite sure if it's Quetzalcoatlus or something else. I want to have as good a first experience watching this movie as I possibly can. I did this for Jurassic World, I did it for Fallen Kingdom, and I did it for Dominion. I didn't learn much of anything beyond what I saw in the trailers and what I kind of heard in background. I didn't want to make the same mistake that I made for Jurassic Park 3 back in those days. Dan's JP3 page, shout out here. I hunted down every scrap of information that I possibly could to learn as much about the movie as I could before I went and watched it. And yeah, I had a good time watching it, but I was expecting certain things as I watched the movie. Okay, the rumor was this was going to happen. The rumor was this was going to happen. And a couple of those things didn't happen, and I got disappointed. And so I try not to bury my head into an investigation and instead bury my head in the sand a little bit and just peek out every once in a while just to kind of get a glimpse of what's happening. I don't want preconceived notions going in. I don't like to speculate too far because speculation becomes expectation, and that won't be me. I will not do that. I can't. That's why I don't know the dinosaur names just yet. I want to learn it from the movie. I want to get that information from the film and not from tie-in material. But unfortunately, I think, between now and July, I'll probably have to, come across some merchandise that pegs that animal, and I will then at that point know exactly what it is. And we're going to move on.
These dinosaurs were too dangerous for the original park.
Please don't say they're raptors. They're raptors.
The worst of the worst were left here.
All right, let's do this. First of all, let's get this out of the way. The visual cue of the raptor's feet. Great callback to the first movie. Love it. No notes. Can't wait. I do want to point out they're being real shy about showing the raptors. None of the promotional stuff that I've seen have shown the raptors. Whatever the reason for that is, I'm sure is going to be very interesting. So I'm imagining it's not just for the fans who want to see original coloration like myself. I imagine that there is something up with those raptors. They're hiding that from us. And now for the crux of the whole thing, the entire reason for this island's existence and why they're there. There has been a lot of consternation after this trailer from fans of the franchise who are upset with the idea of mutations, that D-Rex not being a dinosaur. And I don't know why. This is coming from anyone who's seen my previous videos knows. I was never on board for the hybrids. I was never on board for Indominus, never on board for Indoraptor. I didn't like that concept, even though I know that that is the natural progression of where this story was headed. I found the idea to be too fantastical for what I felt was a more grounded franchise. We're sending the Fast and Furious into space here, kind of like we're jumping a couple of sharks. I didn't like the idea of melding DNA and splicing it together. It just seemed too futuristic. It seemed too Chaos Effect, which was cartoonish, and I didn't really care for it. But it wasn't until I watched this trailer and the idea of mutations came to me that I realized, well, wait, maybe the reason that the hybrid thing never really jived with me and why I never liked it was because we skipped a step. You know, we saw a successful product. In the Jurassic Park trilogy, we saw the peak of Henry Wu's powers in terms of getting dinosaurs that looked and behaved more or less correctly. And then we jump into Jurassic World, where now Henry Wu is confident enough in his ability to create with DNA that he is melding DNA together from cuttlefish and raptors and T-Rexes. But what about the unsuccessful prototypes? What about the mistakes that were made? Now, if you'd have asked me that, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I would have just said, well, those mistakes were just destroyed. They didn't work out, so they weren't kept around. But now we're getting to it that there are live animals who were the mistakes. These were the ones that were wrong, that Wu messed up, or that the early attempts at pulling dino DNA just failed flat on its face. What if that D-Rex is just they pulled DNA from a mosquito, assumed there was one dinosaur in there, when in fact there was more than one dinosaur in there. That mosquito had taken blood from multiple species of dinosaur, and now those species came out in this genetic grab bag, and that was the result. And I'm on board for that. I am absolutely, let's see what mistakes were made on the part of InGen before they got successful product for their park. These were the ones that weren't good enough for exhibition. And I think that's awesome. I think that's great. I think they should have been on Sorna, obviously. Don't like the idea that they had an entirely different island for this, and feel like maybe that could have been put into Sorna. We haven't seen Sorna since Jurassic Park 3. It's like, hey, it's still there, guys. I'll give it to them. That is a really great concept that I didn't really ever think about. It never really occurred to me that there was going to be mistakes, that they were going to mess up. So let's keep going.
Come on! Duncan!
Oh, they're putting another kid in the movie. Here we go again. We just got to shove a child somewhere into a Jurassic Park movie, don't we? I don't know who she is. I'm going to go ahead and guess that she is the child of one of the people who has been contracted to come to the island. Maybe the ship's, the captain's daughter or something. Man, do we have to keep doing this? It's ridiculous. Hopefully there's a good reason. Hopefully David Koepp came up with a really good reason for inserting another child into the proceedings, because I don't know. It's formula at this point. I guess you got to have a kid in there somewhere, but it's like, man, that is running thin. You can do a Jurassic Park movie without kids in it. I promise you. Whatever. Here we go.
We put ourselves in a place we don't belong.
Okay. The producer said a couple weeks ago, before Rebirth's trailer happened, that there was a sequence from the original novel that had never been adapted for any of the movies, and that they were finally adapting it for Rebirth. And everyone who's ever read that book, whoever cared about Jurassic Park, knew instantly what sequence that was. There was only one that it could be, and that was waking up a sleeping T-Rex that follows you into the water. And that is one of the most tension-laden scenes in the entire novel, even though it's Dr. Grant, our main character, and the two children who you're fairly certain are going to make it through to the end of the story. When the T-Rex wakes up after Lex sneezes, your heart is pounding. You are not sure that they are actually going to survive this encounter. And the entire sequence is awesome. Seeing the Dilophosaurus there is pretty cool because the Dilophosaurus does appear during that sequence where the Rex is chasing them down the banks. The Dilophosaurs are on the opposite bank. That's a really good callback to the novel. I like that the Dilophosaurus doesn't have the same patterns as the originals, which is something I'm going to get to at the end of the trailer. So let's get there.
Survival is a long shot.
Great line.
What the hell are those?
They're helping the mosasaur defend territory, stalk, hunt.
None of what you just said is good.
Okay, let's discuss this. A couple of things, but I think I'm going to start with the fact that doesn't appear to be the Mosasaurus from Jurassic World. That looks like it's the Mosasaurus from whatever island this is. I guess we can just call it Site C. That begs the question of why the Mosasaurus and by extension the Spinosaurus aren't just swimming away. Are they in a pen of some sort? Is there some protective netting or something that goes around this island that prevents those animals from going out to the wide ocean? That'll be interesting to learn and find out. The other thing is probably the most controversial, and that is the design of the Spinosaurus. Guys, none of the creatures that we've seen in this movie match the previous incarnations of those animals for obvious reasons. The trailer tells us that these were the ones that didn't make it to the park. They say it's too dangerous, that these were the ones that were too dangerous. You got to imagine they're also the ones that weren't worthy of being shown to the public. They have mutations in them. Perhaps these are the ones that had no frog DNA, that they tried different animal DNA until they landed on amphibian DNA to stabilize the dinosaur genetic code. So they are going to look different. They're going to look weird. If we saw a Jurassic Park 3 style Spinosaurus here, what was wrong with that? Why wasn't that worthy of exhibition? These are going to not look like the ones from before. That T-Rex that looks different from all the T-Rexes that we've seen in the franchise before. But the Spinosaurus apparently are just too ugly for people. And it's like, yeah, they should be. They're the mistakes. They're bad product. Why are we getting upset about that? We are seeing Henry Wu's mistakes. They call this the new era. That's what they're marketing this movie as, the start of a new era. But as they're opening the door to this future that they're creating for the Jurassic franchise, they're also, for the first time, opening a door to the time before Jurassic Park. We've seen some inklings of this in Dominion with Charlotte Lockwood, but we haven't really taken a good look at what InGen was like before Jurassic Park. We are opening a door to InGen's past rather than their present and their future. And that's the first time it's happening in this continuity. So it's really, really important, I think, for fans to just come to grips a little bit with the fact that this isn't supposed to be like the dinosaurs that we've seen so far. That I can get behind. I don't mind dinosaur redesign as long as it makes sense. And in this case, it really does. There was really no reason for, Jurassic Park 3 to introduce suddenly brightly colored dinosaurs when what we've seen before has been more realistically shaded. This makes sense because we're working with dinosaurs that weren't good enough for the park. Something is wrong with these animals, and that's why they're on this island. I think we need to take a chill pill, some of us, and just kind of recognize that it does make sense. Maybe you do want to see the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus return. I know I do. I've been waiting all these years. I love that design. I love that Spinosaurus. So in conclusion, I am cautiously optimistic. I haven't been this excited to see a new Jurassic in a while. Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom didn't really net my attention very well. Obviously, I went and watched them day one, night one, I was there. I did not find myself thinking these are going to be good movies. I did not have a whole lot of hope for them to be good movies. Dominion, I was excited about, but that was mostly based on the fact that we were getting legacy characters. We were getting Sam Neill and Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum back, and that was exciting for me. This might be the first one since Jurassic Park 3 where I'm genuinely excited to see what they're going to do and what the story is going to be going forward, because it looks really interesting, and the characters also seem very interesting. ScarJo seems like ScarJo. I mean, I'm not too surprised. She's fine, but I'm really excited about seeing more of Henry Loomis and more of Mahershala Ali's character. They look like they're going to be a good time. So overall, I would say that this trailer was really good. Didn't give away too much, but gave up enough for us to get excited to see what this movie is going to be about. And I'm looking forward to the second trailer and seeing if any more details about the movie come out. But again, I'm not going to overdo it. I'm not going to go hunting down information. If I see something, I'll process it. I'll think about it. But like I said, speculation turns to expectation. So if you liked watching this video and want more thoughtful Jurassic content, hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and join me the next time. I have a couple of things in the works. I have a Dennis Nedry video coming soon, and obviously I'm still working on Jurassic World Dominion's How to Fix. I just really want to get that one right, and I don't feel like I have it right yet. I'm working on the finale of it right now. I really want to stick this landing because the movie certainly didn't. So I want to make sure that I get it right, at least for myself, if no one else. Like, share, subscribe, and what is it that I say at the end of these videos? Later, nerds.